How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Tri-State Stooges podcast. I'm your host, the Reaper, also known as Justin, alongside my two other hosts, Tony B and Cutlets. How's everybody doing today?
Fantastic.
50-50.
Great to hear. So, as you guys
50-50.
know, there's been, all right, 50-50. As you guys know, there's been a lot of trades that have happened with the Yankees, but especially with the Mets. We're gonna break it all down to you guys, give you guys our opinions.
Buy or
Um, we're gonna
sell.
we're gonna start off with the Yankees. I'm gonna pass this off to the two Yankees fans here. What did you guys think about the trades? And yeah,
Yeah, so yesterday I was really excited to get Garcia from the Nationals. I am a big fan of him, have been a big fan of him all year. He's my second baseman on fantasy, even though he mainly plays first base. He does have a secondary position as a second baseman. So he's been raking for me all year. The Yankees definitely wanted to go after some right-handed pop. Unfortunately, they could not find what they were looking for exactly, so they said, screw it, we'll just get the best batter in the entire bunch. And right now, that guy is Garcia. So I think he's going to add a lot of offense to our team. Not sure how they're going to utilize him. Today he's playing DH, but or first base, sorry, and they got Rice at DH. So we'll see how they deploy him, especially if Judge and Stan come back. But overall, I do like the trade, and I feel like we didn't give up a lot. The Reaper down there disagrees. The Reaper feels like we did give up a lot. We gave up a bunch of pitchers, and we have the deepest pitching rotation in baseball, so I don't see how that's a problem. And we avoided giving away our best pitching prospect. So, in my opinion, we got one of the best hitters in the league and practically for nothing. So, I would say that was a good move by Cashman, and probably, as we'll get to later, but probably the only good move they made.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna go off what Tony B said. I don't hate the trade. I don't, but I don't love it. I get it. We got, the best slugging hitter in the NL, but I don't know. It's not what we needed. Like, look at what the Rays and look at what the Red Sox did. They got Adley Rutschman and they got the catcher from I'm blanking out right now. What's his name?
Liam Hicks.
Yeah, and Liam Hicks. I mean, the Rays made so many moves, and Red Sox, it's going to be a lot more difficult now, especially when we see them in the playoffs. But then again, it's also the playoffs. I've been saying this for the last month. You don't know what's going to happen. The playoffs, and you start off with 3 games, and you go five, and then 5 and 7. So it's really just it's all a toss up. Heliot Ramos, all right, decent, adds depth. You know, I like I said, I don't love what Cashman did. I understand the vision of what he's trying to put out there, but I mean, his best move was getting rid of Duvall because I mean, his first at bat. Jesus, his first time on the mound with Pittsburgh, he lets up a home run. So I mean,
So
it's kind
let me just sorry to cut you off there, Cutlets, but what was my prediction on who they were going to trade? Oh
of
yeah, it was Duvall,
Duvall.
wasn't it? And what was my prediction on who they were also going to trade for? A fourth outfielder? Just saying, you heard it here first. Tri-State Stooges podcast. You heard it here first.
I mean, also on top of what are they? I mean, like, what are they going to do with Garcia? You already have two DH players. Sure, one's hurt right now, but when Stanton comes back, like, where are you gonna? They're not gonna move Volpe. That's their golden boy. You know, Golden Glove his rookie year, and that's what they've been holding on to. He hasn't done shit. I mean, Volpe needs to get dropped, and they're not going to do it. And then you move Jazz to short. You have Garcia play the second. You have Ben Rice play first, but they don't want to do that for some reason, and it sucks. That's the only reason why I'm saying I'm not a big fan of the trade, and that's why I don't love it. But I mean, you get two hitters that hit on the right side, which is always good. But it'll only take you so far, especially in the position that we're in right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Yankees totally flopped this trade deadline. Um, yeah, they added on Garcia, but they Cashman said it himself, they're weak in the catcher spot, and you go out and you don't get a catcher. I think that was a major flop.
Well, they did get a
Um,
catcher, but not a major league ready catcher. So,
exactly
but
my
they did
point.
go and
Yeah,
get a catcher. They did.
they got
Just
a
to be
catcher.
clear.
Yeah, what is he estimated to hit the MLB 2030? But
I don't know.
anyway,
I'm pretty
so
sure he's quite old, actually. I was looking at it. I'm pretty sure he's kind of old.
okay,
I mean,
well, anyways, go.
if you're preparing for the future, then I see what they're trying to do, but it's like
Yeah, but the Yankees are in a position right now where they could go the whole way. They needed the extra pieces to make a stretch for the World Series, but I think Cashman fell short. Yeah, Garcia Jr. was a good pickup, but looking at this Yankees lineup, I mean, for this year, where does he really fit in? Like he doesn't fit in. Next year, yeah, I could see him fitting in better because Jazz is in his walk year right now, but for this year, it didn't really make sense to really go after him. I think you guys could have went after some better players, some better weapons to make your team a World Series contending team. But I think you guys fell short.
let's move on to the Mets. All right. As you predicted last podcast, you said fire sale, which is what happened. How do you feel about it? Where do you think the Mets should go from here on out?
I honestly think the Mets flopped like very heavily. David Stearns, I he made some good trades, but I'm not very happy with it. You know, we got rid of Luke Weaver, AJ Minter, Brazoban, Brooks Raley, Freddie Peralta. Am I missing anyone? No, I'm not missing. Oh, Tyrone Taylor. Missed Tyrone Taylor. Like we got rid of basically our whole bullpen. Like it was crazy fire sale. But let's get into the breakdowns a little bit. You know, we'll start off with the AJ Minter trade to the Twins. We picked up Bruin Agbanyana. I'm saying his last name wrong. Agbanyani. Picked him up. You know, he's not an upper tier prospect, but I forgot whose son he is. He's someone's son that used to play for the Mets. Blanking out on his name, but picked him up. Then we also picked up Billy Emick. He's a Twins upper tier prospect. His MLB ETA is apparently 2027, you know. We'll see what happens there. I think that was kind of a flop of a trade, but I feel like we could have got something better for AJ Minter, but we'll see where that goes. Then we got Brazoban trade with the White Sox. We got Gabe Davis and Zach Franklin. Gabe Davis was the White Sox number 18th overall prospect, which not really happy about. You know, he's a power arm with some swing and miss stuff, but he really needs some more development, you know. So not really too fun there. Zach Franklin, you know, he's unranked, so not really much to say there. Then we go to one of the trades that I'm not happy with whatsoever is the Brooks Raley's trade to the division rival, of course, the Phillies. We got John Spikerman and Luke Gabrish, which Spikerman was in the top 30s of the Phillies prospects, and Gabrish is an unranked prospect, which honestly, if it was up to me, if we were trading within the division, I would ask for a king's ransom, but obviously, I guess Brooks Raley's market was not there. No one really wanted him, I guess, so we ended up going with the Phillies and getting a decent trade there.
Now, not to cut you off from the super deep research that you've been doing all day,
Indeed.
but I did just see that Luis Garcia hit his first home run as a Yankee, which is beautiful. So, it's looking pretty bright right
Like I
now.
said, he rakes, gentlemen. Like I said, he rakes.
It
Where
was
they
a
have him playing right now?
two-run shot,
First
two-run
base.
shot,
He rakes, gentlemen. I'm telling you, it was a good
and
move.
now,
Yeah. All right.
but
So, yeah, go ahead.
anyway,
Continue, Colets.
oh well, I was gonna say, I think the Mets obviously, I think they did pretty good. You know, sure, it wasn't the greatest players. It wasn't no Scooble to the Dodgers kind of trade, but they made moves for the future because they obviously saw that the season they had a couple of years ago was a one and done. And that's why you had your core guys leave. We saw what happened last year with the biggest choke in the regular season. And they knew that this year, after losing, it was what, 16 games in a row or something like that earlier this season, that
Mm.
the season was done. They knew that it was over with. So they're going out and they're making these trades, and obviously getting rid of Tyrone Taylor and Luke Weaver is not the ideal situation of what you want, but it's something that needs to be done. And I think it was a very good, like I said, I think they did a very good job with doing
I mean,
these trades.
don't get me wrong. Tyrone Taylor, love the guy, but I'm not slam bullets that he was traded. Luke Weaver, on the other hand, he went to the Pirates, which not too upset about. But getting rid of Luke Weaver, he was under club control. He was getting paid barely anything, and we go out and we trade him for Sammy Satafura, which is a shortstop. He was number ninth ranked on the Pirates, which he's a decent prospect, but getting rid of Luke Weaver, man, I don't know. I feel like he would have had a bright future next season with the Mets.
Obviously, losing Luke Weaver is a sad, sucks. When we lost Luke Weaver, I was pretty upset about it too. But what about Freddie Peralta going to the Rays? How does that make you feel? Because that was
I was
that
getting
was
to that. I
that
was
was
getting
like
to
your
that.
highlight.
Honestly,
That was your highlight in your pitching.
well, yeah, at the beginning of the season, before we even started the season, yes, he was the highlight of our pitching rotation. But when he got here, he was 5 inning Freddy. He couldn't go past 5 innings. But I think honestly, this is a great move for the Rays. I think the Rays are going to be able to get Freddie Peralta back up to his normal self. I think now that he's in a smaller market, he's gonna really thrive there, and I think he's gonna be a problem for you guys this year. The trade, I'm not too upset about. We got for Freddie Peralta, we got Aiden Smith, Gary Gill Hill, and Emenen Petre. So we got a nice little haul. I mean, I don't think they were very high prospects, but it was a nice return for Freddie Peralta. I wish Peralta the best of luck, but I know you guys are not wishing him the same luck as I am.
I mean, I wasn't wishing him the best of luck even when he was on the Mets, honestly. But and to backtrack what I was saying, I was wrong. The Yankees actually took the lead in the game. Now they're up 7-6 after being down 6-0. So
Okay.
Luis
it's looking good.
Garcia Jr. He
Looking good.
rakes, gentlemen. He rakes.
It's looking good. Like
All
I
right.
said, it's
He
one game.
rakes.
Like I said, it's one game.
So,
Sure, it's his game, but we also saw
It's
Jazz.
one game, bro. That's what, his 24th home run of the
I'm
season.
saying,
He has
I'm
like what, a
saying this is his
300,
first game.
285 batting
I'm
average.
saying this is his first game as a Yankee doing that. We saw what Jazz did when he hit 4 home runs in 3 games when he came here, and now he sucks, sucking on lollipops in the infield. So like,
Whoa, let's slower roll because he doesn't suck. He's probably one of the more productive hitters on our team right now. So I don't know exactly where you're coming from with that take, but he definitely is having a down year. I'll give you that. But like in comparison to last year and the year before, but he doesn't suck. Let's not take it to that degree.
well, he's not great. I'll say that. It hasn't
all right,
been.
now I'm gonna cut you boys off. Sorry. I just want to get to the last trade that the Mets did. This was a big trade. We traded Clay Holmes and Tyrone Taylor to the Cubs, right? Yeah, to the Cubs for Jefferson Rojas, which is the number two Cubs prospect. He's a shortstop, number 63 overall in the MLB prospects. His MLB ETA is 2027, so we could see him as soon as next year hit the major league field. You know, he's a great athletic two-way player. He has power. He's good on defense. I think this was a solid trade for the Mets, especially that Tyrone Taylor and Clay Holmes were both rentals.
So you think they're what do you think they're going to do with Lindor then? You think they're going to let him
Well,
go?
see, that's the beauty of having young talent is young talent can always kind of move around as long as they're developed properly. But in the long term, who knows? The Mets really this year they went for quantity over quality, and they also weren't looking at club fits. They were just getting the best prospects possible that they could get. So the reason why I kind of like that is because we can use all these players now in trades for next season. We can get other players from other teams, trade some of these prospects off. So I think although Lindor is there, I don't know if he's going to be here next season. We'll see where that goes, but I think it was still a solid trade. The Mets picked up two high ranking prospects that are both shortstops. So it just shows that they weren't really looking for club fit. They were looking for the best of the best.
The Mets are in full rebuild mode. It is
It's
gonna
it's
be a
tough.
long
It's
couple
tough to ad,
years.
it's tough to admit, but yeah, we are in a pretty big after getting rid of our whole bullpen. We literally had no bullpen, which is also kind of exciting a little bit because now some of these prospects, like some of these pitchers that we got, we might see get slotted in this season to see how they perform. So I think it's exciting that we get to see some young talent come alive, like Christian Scott. He started this year. He's been electric. Nolan McLean. He's been so, but he's still fun to watch. I think he has a lot of potential still, and I think he's still learning. And now that we have all these slots open, it's time for the younger guys to step up and make a name for themselves.
Now, my question to you is you got all these great prospects, you got everything, starting to build back up,
Wouldn't say great prospects, but
but well, some great prospects, but at that point, say in a couple of years from now, none of it works out. Where, like, do you still think you would
well,
have guys like McLean and Soto and stuff like that stick around? Like, do you think like this is like a slow rebuild that the organization
Soto
understands and it's
signed
going to
through
take
like
a
fucking
while?
2060, so he's not
I
going
was gonna say,
anywhere.
let's be real. Soto's going nowhere. No
Well,
one's taking on that contract. So
doesn't
Soto's here for the long
but
term.
also doesn't he
But
have in his contract like after 4 years he can opt to leave?
5 years, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, he has a player option at 5 years, but the Mets can buy it out, and then I think they would pay him, I think, 5 mil more a year,
yeah,
which I don't I don't know. We'll see. But then again, Soto is not opting out of that contract. Unless he goes on a crazy heater, he's not opting out of that contract.
no,
But
absolutely
in
not.
terms of in terms of where this looks in the future, I think it looks good for the future. However, I do not have faith in Stearns anymore. This was kind of the first year where Stearns really had full reign of the Mets, and you see what happened. It was a complete flop. It was a complete failure. He got rid of all of our players that we loved in the organization, got rid of all of them, brings in all these injured players and expecting them all to get together and win something. It was terrible. I mean, at the beginning when it happened, I was happy for it, but looking at it now is terrible moves by David Stearns, and I really have no faith in him. That's why coming up to this deadline, I didn't think he was going to do good. And to be frank, I don't think he really did good this trade deadline.
I mean, listen, I slightly disagree with you, and the way I disagree with you, like obviously David Stearns has had a bad year all around. I think anyone can see that as being obvious. The moves he made, even the contract, the way he signed the contract for Bichette, it's like, what are we doing with that contract, dude? It's got to be like the silliest contract I've ever seen
Yeah,
written
that
up in
was
MLB history. I mean, it was ridiculous, but that's
he
beside the
he
point.
wrote that contract expecting Bo Bichette to opt out his first year. So he was thinking it was a 1 year deal. Bo Bichette ain't fucking opting out of that contract. He's not getting that contract anywhere else. It was terrible. But sorry to cut you off. Continue, Tony
No,
B.
and I agree with you 100%, and that's my point exactly. But I mean, the the Mets, what did you really expect him to do at the deadline here? I mean,
I mean, I
no,
mean,
that's what I'm saying though, Reaper. It's like he did what we all said he was going to do. He sold the team off, and unfortunately, you might not have gotten back as much as you like, and that's fine. But it's like at the end of the day, they're not going anywhere this year. They're probably not going anywhere next year. So, and a lot of these guys are on 1 to 2 year deals, except for Weaver and whatever
I
else.
mean,
It's like
no, everybody's in a walk year right now except for Weaver.
so,
Everybody's in a walk year, so it
so,
wasn't
so.
terrible.
That's why I'm kind of saying it's like it's
I
I'm
would
not
have
really
liked,
mad at what he did. Uh, you
yeah,
know,
I would have liked to extend Clay Holmes. That would have been a nice piece. I think he would be a good like vet if you want to call him that for the younger guys. Luke Weaver,
yeah,
Luke Weaver's value is never going to be as high as it was now, but I still feel like we could have got a little bit more. I think David Stern's negotiation skills lacks a little bit. I think he's not really a great negotiator.
yeah. I'm not. So I mean, that's how I ultimately feel about Stearns. He had a bad year, but I don't necessarily think he flopped at the deadline. I mean, I think he did what he really could. What I will say is Cashman is kind of a different story. My wrap up take on Cashman. You know, I really like the Garcia move, and I think I'm in like a small population of people that actually feel that way in terms of Yankees fans, and I don't understand it. I mean, they got the best hitter that honestly was available, like logically available. I mean, yeah, you want to say Hunter Goodman. You saw what they were asking for him. They wanted like the entire Yankees lineup basically for Goodman. Like, we're not gonna do that. That defeats the purpose. So at the end of the day, it's like I think he got the best hitter on the board. And so because of that, I'm happy. And as you could see, as Cutlets said, he already has a home run in his first appearance for the Yankees. And it seems like a big time home run to take the lead. So um we'll see how it pans out, especially, when hopefully praying that Judge and Stanton eventually come back. I saw an alert as we were loading onto this pod that Boone said he was very, or sorry, Cashman said he was very confident Judge will be back this season. So that is some big news to hear. Um, Now, do we completely believe him? We'll see. Time will tell, but normally when someone does say they're pretty confident, that probably means that he will be back at some point.
Yeah, but they
Um,
said the same thing about Stanton
well,
back in
Stan
May.
had a setback, so that's not really the same kind of situation. He was going to come back sooner and then he re-injured himself. So it's not really you can't really use that as an example, but I mean, I hear your point, Mike, but
I mean, we'll see I mean, I say he comes back, middle of September if all goes well.
yeah.
But
Garcia adds a good right-hand bat to the lineup to use against, left-handed pitching. But I will say and when I say left-handed pitching, I say that because he actually has been really good against both sides, left and right-handed pitching recently, as of recently. And he said in an interview that he thinks one of the reasons he's been batting so well as of late is because his coach for the Giants actually started letting him face both handed pitchers. And so, it adds some pop to the lineup when we need him. I mean, we didn't give up anything for him as well, so it's whatever at the end of the day. But that was I said we were gonna need a fourth outfielder. You guys all agreed, and yeah, we got a fourth outfielder. Spencer Jones has been raking though, so I mean
Well, that's what I was
he's
just
been
about to bring that up.
absolutely raking, gentlemen. Like my God.
I'm gonna I'm gonna touch back a little bit. You said this a little bit ago, Tony B, is you said they got the best power hitter, which I won't I won't completely disagree with, but then again, I still think Cashman could have done better. You guys needed a
Well, he
catcher.
could have
You're
went
you're
after
lacking
Rutschman. He could have went after Adley. Um,
Liam Hicks. The Rays just got Liam Hicks. Why couldn't you guys have gotten Liam Hicks? Liam Hicks
yeah,
has been having a hell of a season,
I
and I
like
think he's under
Adley quite a
club
bit more than
control.
Hicks, but I
I
see
think
your
I think
point.
he's under club control until he 2020-30, if I'm not wrong. Like
Adley
Liam
would have
Hicks
been
was a
better. Adley would have been a lot better though because he's a switch hitter and he plays great defense. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what he has over Hicks, and
I think
that's like the two most essential things.
yeah, but I think he could have filled in a spot where you guys were lacking at. This was kind of just adding someone to add someone because they're good. Like, which don't get me wrong, obviously add someone if they're good, but he could have needed a catcher. Like,
But I
that was
think,
that was the main thing.
I mean,
But I think with it comes down to like they knew they weren't going to get a catcher. Like they spoke because the reports all came out that they tried for Goodman and they tried for Rutschman, and the asking price for both of those teams was more than the Yankees wanted to settle for. And so I think it comes down to the fact that their plan B in that situation was go after the best hitter, and that's what they did. And so can I be totally pissed? No. I do wish we got a catcher too, and that's why I'd give Cashman probably like a C plus for the trade deadline this year, but I'm not as low as a lot of people are on him, and I think I'd probably give Stearns like a B minus probably, because I mean,
I,
what
I
else
can
did you
ag-
expect him to do?
I could agree with that. I can give him a B. I agree with Stearns gets a B minus, maybe a C plus, but Cashman, I think he really flopped. I think he gets a D.
I don't get that though.
I
He,
don't know.
He
he
I
added
did
don't
one
he
of the
know.
did,
best
but it
hitters in the league
yes,
and
yes,
gave up
but
practically nothing for him. Like
If I'm
nothing
gonna
that
be
we
fair,
need, at least. Nothing that we need, at
if
least.
I'm gonna be fair, I would give both teams between a C minus and a C plus. It's nothing too flashy, but it's nothing bad.
Well, to be
It's
clear,
little sneaky
to
moves.
be clear, between a C minus and a C plus would be a C, Michael. But yes, continue.
Well, not bro, whatever. Anyway,
so anyways, what we were talking about in the last podcast, we were saying the Yankees were going to go after an outfielder. I don't think we really touched on this a lot. How do you guys feel about Helio Ramos?
I mean, I don't know too much about him, so I can't really put in like all my input. But I think adding depth to the outfield to give guys like Spencer Jones, who've been hitting so successful, a break, give guys like Trent Grisham a break. You
It's
know,
just a depth ad. That's what it comes down to. Like, there's really not much to look into about this. He's a decent. They wanted a right-hand guy because Judge hasn't. Judge has been out. Stan's been out. They needed another right-hand bat in the lineup, and that right-handed bat most successfully should work as an outfielder because we're so thin at the position right now. So it's really just a depth ad. Someone who's going to be better than Schumann. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and he's better than Schumann. So. They added
I
him,
mean,
they sent Schumann down, and that's where we're at now. I mean,
to
it's
be
really
fair,
that simple.
Ramos hasn't had a terrible season this year.
No, he
He's bat
hasn't, but
he. He was batting at 264 with 9 home runs, 34 RBIs in 74 games.
Yeah, but
He's
over the last like month or so, his numbers have been insanely good. He's on a bit of a run this last month or so. Which is why I think the main reason that they saw the value there, because they see potential that he could be like better than his stats, I guess, show overall. But like I said, that's just a depth ad. It's really not much to look into at all, gentlemen.
I mean,
It's a
well, you
depth ad.
guys lost Belly, so
Yeah,
he's
and
definitely going to
so
be
Yeah.
out
this
there
is
starring every
this is
day.
a guy to hold us over until like guys like Judge or Belly come back. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
I mean, granted, like, say Cashman added a catcher and, brought in some huge name and stuff like that. It really comes down to like the morale in the clubhouse. Because right now you could tell by the fans, the players, the organization itself that the morale is not where it was in April when we were winning 8 out of 9 games every week.
Well, the morale isn't gonna be there because simply by the fact that like we're down to literally a AAA roster at this point. A AAA roster plus Ben Rice. That's what our
No, I know,
roster
but
is at this
you
point.
can if you have guys who are hitting and are putting up points and actually scoring, like, look at the last couple of games that we've had. It's been like 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, no run. Like, it's just been like very low hitting. And then you look at the last 2 games we played against the White Sox. It's been shutout innings until the relievers come in. Same thing with the Cubs, and then they choke in the last game. So, and I got a notification they were up 7-6. Now they're down 11-7. So it's like obviously the hitting's there today. There's not much you can do about that. The pitching is just garbage tonight, but the pitching is also not up to par. So that's also where morale comes in. It doesn't come from just the hitting. It comes from the pitching. It comes from the manager. It comes from what's going on in the clubhouse.
All right, everybody, we're going to go into our new segment where we started last episode. If you missed it, go check it out in the last episode. But this is the Tri-State Triple. Today, the person that's going to be leading off the Tri-State Triple is Tony B. So, Tony B, take it away.
So in the aftermath of a some say poor, some say good trade deadline for the Yankees, I am going to revisit some amazing history as the Yankees do have, and give you the top three best trades in Yankees history.
Okay, okay.
So, number three, this one I had some hard time deciding. So, I'm gonna do like a 3A and a 3B. I'm gonna do two threes. I know it's kind of like a little bit cheating, whatever, but I think it's hard to trim it down to three. I think there's really four that have to be mentioned. So the first one, 3A, we'll say, is Alex Rodriguez. I mean, come on, guys. Like traded to the or traded from the Texas Rangers. Had just an absolutely unbelievable year. Um, for for the
Rod.
for the championship year in 2009. Um, he was phenomenal. He won two MVPs with the Yankees, if I'm not mistaken, and obviously won the World Series in '09. Obviously there was some scandal involved with the steroids and whatnot, but it is what it is. I think the time he was using steroids was well after his best season, so it is what it is. Um, so yeah, so that's 3A. 3B, and this was the other guy I was having a hard time deciding between because he's not as good of a player as A-Rod was, but man, he was so important to the Yankees, and that's why I had such a trouble deciding between the two, and that's Paul O'Neill. I mean, just what a player Paul O'Neill was for so many years for the Yanks. If I'm not mistaken, he went to five. He had five All-Star appearances. He won a batting title in 94 and he won four championships in the late 90s dynasty with the Yankees. So I'm not sure how it gets much better than that. I mean, they traded a guy, he became a cornerstone piece of that extreme dynasty the Yankees had in the late 90s. And he's forever a Yankees legend. Now a commentator, as you know, for Yes Network and the Yankees broadcast. So it's hard to make a list and keep him off, and that's why I felt the need to include him on this list. Next up, number two, uh, Roger Maris. I mean, Roger Maris won two MVPs after he joined the Yankees, set the home run record, beating Babe Ruth in 61 with 61, 61 and 61, and also won two World Series with the Yankees. He was originally, I don't know if anyone knows this or not here, I mean, like between us and the group, but he's originally very much not liked by the fans when he joined the team because him and Mantle kind of had that, like, alpha dog kind of thing, like who was the best player, who wasn't. And, Mantle
Almost
was
like
in all the
Soto and
Yankees fans'
Lindor.
hearts. And so they really put Maris down a little bit at the start, but then he eventually grew on everyone, obviously, 61 home runs. I mean, how could you not, right? But he was a very good player for the Yankees. As I said, two MVPs, four championships. That's more than the Mets have in their entire history. So, number one on my list, do I even have to say it? I think we all know what it is, right? Babe Ruth. Come on now. The curse of the Bambino, the Boston Red Sox. Some say it was more of a purchase than a trade. Um, but ultimately, I consider it 100% a trade. It's considered by most people to be a trade. And seven World Series titles, the greatest Yankee of all time, an MVP in 23, I believe, and held the home run record for how many years until Maris finally broke it. And the first person inducted into the Hall of Fame for the honorary Hall of Fame class when it was created. Um, and he's the GOAT. I mean, it's so how could he not be number one? So that's my top three list, gentlemen.
I could agree with your number one. I'm touching back on what you were saying about the Mets and the Yankees. You guys won 19 championships before the Yankees, or not the Yankees, before the Mets were a team. So,
I hear you, Justin. I know you're
uh,
trying to get a little pissed off
you
right
know,
now, but let's stay on topic here, all right?
I'm going back to what we were just talking about.
It
Anyways,
was just a funny little diss I gave you, but
it's all right.
like
I'm not
how do you
taking
boys
that. I'm not taking that.
how do you boys feel about the list?
I like it. Number three, I think you could have left A-Rod out and left who was
Paul
3B?
O'Neill. Paul
Paul
O'Neill.
O'Neill. Yeah, I think you should have went with Paul O'Neill. A-Rod's a juice head. We didn't need to
Oh, here we
include him.
go.
He was only good because
Here
he
we
was a
go.
juice head. So, but other than that, I like the list. Could have left the juice head out of it though. Number three, Paul O'Neill, and then number two was
Roger
who was
Maris,
it
number
again?
one, babe. Roger Maris.
Yeah, Roger Maris, and then Babe Ruth. I like the list. Gonna act like Juicehead wasn't in there,
But
but
this is
go
the
ahead,
tri-state
Cullets.
triple. Don't you have two more things you got to talk about?
He ju-
Or was
he
that
just
whole
said
list just?
no. It's a number three list, buddy.
Oh, okay. I thought he was
Yeah, and we're
talking
doing the
about.
tri-state triple, and
Well, no, I
the
thought he was
hosts
talking
don't know
about
what the
three
tri-state
separate. I thought
triple
he was going to
is.
talk about three separate things like you did.
I
No,
talked
I
about three
don't
trade
exact.
deadline things,
Yeah, what are you talking about, Michael?
Whatever.
but he's lost over here. All right, so is that where we're ending the episode here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any input, leave it in the comments below. We'll feature you in the next episode. I'm JK the Reaper, also known as Justin, here with Tony B and Cutlets. Um, anybody have anything to say?
Yeah, gentlemen. Just wanted to tell everybody we got a special edition pod coming up here at some point this week. We're gonna do a very different kind of episode, but a very intriguing episode. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We're going to have a debate with five individuals, three of us being the hosts here, and we're going to add two more people, including a special guest who is my father, Big Pops Rob. And we're going to have a very fun episode where we debate a top five list of the top New York sports moments of all time. We're going to be drafting one at a time and trying to see who comes up with the best list. And we're going to be drinking heavy and we're going to be having a good time. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Look out for that. And other than that, I hope to see you guys on the next episode.
Yes. Cutlets, anything?
Um, Not just stay on the lookout for some new videos. We're gonna try and be uploading more this week. We got a lot of new stuff to be talking about. We got training camp that's going on here. We got, the end of the MLB season. We got some can even talk about some basketball stuff if something gets a little interesting. But other than that, just keep stay on the lookout for some new videos. Um Probably going to post a podcast sometime, either Friday or Saturday if we get the chance, if anything big happens. But I think today was a pretty successful baseball talk. We've been talking about a lot of baseball recently. So I think we're going to try and transition into something new.
All right, well, thank you everybody again for joining in. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Cutlets, cue the stupid ass wave.